Friends, it's high blush time. I am pleased to present Natasha Denona's newly released Hy-Glam blush product. We're starting off strong this year with a bunch of blush. My gosh, I recently just uploaded YSL's Make Me Blush review where I purchased 2 shades, and I only purchased one duo from the Hy blush release because I felt the need to just hit the brakes, pick one shade, and if down the line, if I love this product, this is a first impressions video, then I'll purchase more. But to quickly go over some retail details, this actually was available on NatashaDenona.com on 121 for reward members, which I am. So I was able to purchase my duo in advance, and then it was available to all retailers, or a few, excuse me, on 123 NatashaDenona.com, Sephora, Ulta, and Beautylish. And if you want additional retail details, you can head to the Hy-Glam highlights on the Natasha Denona IG page, where it will list out the several retailers that will carry this blush. I saw that it will be in store at Sephora in March, which feels like some time away, but who knows, it will be available before March. But let's go into the fresh unboxing while I read the product details. The Hy Blush Duo, $42, a hybrid cheek innovation featuring a unique cream blush and highlighter in a clean vegan formula, offering both semi-matte and balmy glow finishes. Enriched with nourishing ingredients, this cloudy cream cheek duo, which is the entire name, the Hy Blush Cloudy Cream Cheek Duo, hydrates the skin while delivering a natural buildable flush of long wearing color. A few more details here showcasing both a hybrid cream blush and tinted highlighter. Hy Blush layers effortlessly and melts seamlessly into the skin, leaving the cheeks with a balmy glow and a natural flush of color without appearing heavy. With a unique and ultralight gel texture, this highly pigmented long-wearing formula is available in 6 lush shades, pinks, corals, and reds to complement all skin tones. Before we get into the benefits and the swatches, well, you saw the swatch on the running B-roll, but I had to make a comment on the shade selection. When I first saw the photos on Natasha's product page, or actually on her IG when she released the announcement, I said, that's a lot of pink. Just to quickly go over them, Sweet Cheeks is the icy pastel pink baby pink, Simply Shy, a icy light pink, light dusty coral. Okay, I guess she would categorize that as coral. I would just say it was pink as well. Fresh Mauve, which is the one I purchased, the glowy nude mauve shade, Flirty Flush, golden pink coral, flustered, and icy pink pomegranate, and vamped, which she describes to be an icy peach mahogany. Upon seeing vamped, I classified it immediately as a berry, but here it says mahogany, which makes sense given the swatch that I see on the photos. I just thought it was so pink overall, and I was looking for, you know what I'm gonna say, I was looking for the terracotta, but maybe vamped can be classified as somewhat of a terracotta depending on your skin tone. Flustered again is the as I scroll down, the pomegranate. I don't know, I had wanted to see the terracotta shade as well as a dedicated berry wine shade that, not like vamped. Vamped looks to have some like a red berry, maybe more like a blueberry, and something desaturated like what exists in Gucci's blush lineup, Rose Beige. That would have been really cool to have as a cream product. But let me know what you think down below if you believe Natasha will expand this lineup, which I think she should if this Hy blush formula does prove successful. I think a great opportunity to now see shades in this cream product. I want to see the lavender lilac, okay? More orangey tones, the terracotta coppery tones, right? It could be a lot of fun with the Hy blush. But nevertheless, I bought Fresh Mauve, and here is another look at the swatch. Upon feeling it for the first time when filming the B-roll, I detected a creamy consistency, not super tight in the pan, and I was excited to try this on with you for the first time on camera. But I wanted to quickly run through Natasha Denona's history with the Hy concept, which was first introduced in her Hy Gen primer, which was like a skincare hybrid makeup product formulated to leave behind a dewy iridescent texture that can be worn under makeup to enhance the finish of whichever foundation you choose to apply on top. Then we have the Hy-Glam complexion products released in her concealer and her powder foundation, right? So it seems like the Hy dash whatever the product is or whatever the concept is in the brand indicates that hybrid formula that exists in whatever product that is. I'm excited to see if 2025 will be the year for a Hy-Glam foundation from Natasha. I think she will release a foundation stick this time. I think the implications are there where combining skincare benefit with the makeup sensibility of things is a great way for her to go, especially since I don't think she has a foundation stick or a cream-like foundation product. I think she has to do it 100% because I think she wants to expand on this Hy concept. Also, another Hy Gen product was her highlighter hybrid product, specifically the Hy Gen Skincare Infused Glow Beautifier, which was like a cream to powder, almost like a rendition of her Hy Gen serum that you can apply under foundation over top. I have that product, but I haven't finessed it in a way that I like how it looks on my skin. So I'm still on the learning curve with it. But if you play with it a lot, let me know if you made any discoveries that yielded a phenomenal application for you. And now with the blush products, Natasha Denona has a long history with the cream blush products. I think her first cream blush product was found in her Glow palettes, those huge 6-pan palettes that house cream products and powder products. I think I gave those away, unfortunately. And then we have the Bloom or the Blush and Glow palette, the quad face palette that housed the cream products alongside the powder highlighters, right? So this is a cream product, which was on the slightly drier end of the spectrum in terms of texture. And after that, I mean, there were a few products after that. And allow me to pause myself for a moment in order to mention the Glam face palettes that I failed to locate. I think I might have given them away, but that is a formula that I think likens to the Hy blush. It has more of that wet pickup consistency, unlike what's found in her face palettes with the 4 pans and the trio palette. I will have to say, however, that the Hy blush formula has a more even serving of color as opposed to the cream texture formula that exists in her Glam face palettes. They're both creamy, but I found that the Hy blush texture, again, has more even color delivery and it's more color rich. So if you are wondering if they are the same, they are not. I think the Hy blush is a superior product to the cream formula that exists in her Glam face palettes. But on the timeline, next came the My Dream Cheek Trio, which was like a gel hybrid type of a consistency, very lightweight. I mean, not as creamy and wet feeling as the Hy blush. And then she came out with her Berry Pop Cheek Trio. And I meant to say that there were several versions of her, well, for the exception of Bronze. Bronze, she debuted that bouncier cheek formula that we never saw again. So I don't know if she'll ever touch that cocktail down the road. But we have Berry Pop Cheek Trio. And again, this very much gel, drier feeling consistency, which was a hit amongst many. So maybe that makes sense. She didn't come out with a color similar to the Berry Pop one because she already had this trio, and why she steered the Hy blush release to be more pink coral red, I don't really know. But now we have this more cushiony, creamier formula and a few details here, enriched with hydrating ingredients, vegan squalene, and sunflower wax. Hy blush helps to maintain the skin's natural moisture balance, ensuring a fresh, hydrated, plump look and feel. Both formulas in the duo blend and layer effortlessly, offering buildable, vibrant color with a weightless second skin finish. The versatile shades create everything from a luminous no makeup finish to an intensified full glam look. And something that Natasha emphasized on one of her reels that you again can find on her Hy blush highlights, where you can layer this product without it appearing heavy on the cheeks. The highlight does have a slight color shift, so you can rely on this part of the duo to produce that highlight on the cheekbones, or use it to produce more of a highlight color blush effect lower on the cheeks. And then of course using the dedicated blush color to create that flushed effect. Maybe you want to create a little bit of sculpt. And again, Natasha had said that this formula is versatile with a variety of tools. You can use it with brushes, so of course I had to have my Sonia G mini buffer on standby, as well as BK Beauty's 116, something more diffusing, something more dense. I do not use sponges, so that is not in the lineup. I'm very sorry. And of course fingers for the easiest application option available. So now that we have all those details out the way, it's time for you to come in a little closer. That's enough. And you know what time it is? It's house clip time. I have my Dior Star Filter and Forever Foundation Stick Cocktail on. You'll see the shades in my Shop My link, where I'll have all affiliated links, that was hard to get out, on one page for easier browsing. But now it's time to get into this blush, which I was just dying to slap on my face, but here we are. And again, in terms of my skin texture, it is on the drier side because it is winter, but because I applied some moisturizer as primer, and the Dior Star Filter I think immensely helps my skin texture to appear smoother and a little more plump. Going in with this nude shade, and you can see just compared, I'll hop into the Berry Pop trio again. You can see how it's more wet and the Berry Pop consistency is drier. So that is the main difference. And you have a lot more pickup, and I think easier pickup because of that. I think because of that more wet consistency. But just going in with the fingers to see what blend we will get, that's not bad. Color application is even. It's not splotchy. And I do love the color. I do. I would have wanted, again, something, and this is just speaking on behalf of my complexion, something warmer from the 6 shades available, but I like it. I do. And now we'll go into the highlight part, which, believe it or not, this highlighter, did I swatch the highlighter? Yes, I did. This, what I think Dior's Glow Maximizer in Tutu is. The rosy pink base with the gold flip is basically this. See that? Can you detect that flip? And I'll plop it here right on the cheekbones to get, oh boy, because of my ring light, it's, I think, washing out the color a little bit and also the highlight effect. But smooth application, it does leave behind more of a glow. I think if you apply this on a setting spray or apply it, I think, on top of the blush, you'll probably get a more wet looking effect on the cheekbones. But let me apply a little bit here lower, just so we can evaluate the texture if any is left behind. And I think that does enhance the glow look to the duo, right? So here are some close-up shots of a finger application using Natasha's Hy blush in Fresh Mauve. I like it. I do. I think out of all the cream blush products Natasha has released, ever since the genesis of her brand, this might be the most successful. I think because it's easier to pick up with a wider variety of tools, including your fingers, whereas this drier gel texture was a little tricky. This might not have been as tricky because the color is more potent than this more desaturated mauve tone in the Dream Trio, and also the cream product in her quads, a little drier, right? It doesn't have the same fluidity like the high blush texture does. Let's now use my beloved mini buffer, and I'm going straight from pan to face. And because it is creamy, I'm not going to pounce on like I would maybe if I were to apply with BK Beauty's 116. Instead, I'm striking the product so it can distribute evenly and have a nicer spread here around my cheek area. And that is quite lovely. I like this. I'm just not falling into heavy excitement initially because I know sometimes how these first impressions videos can get, but I was excited to try this product because I do like Natasha Denona cheek products, albeit a few I thought didn't work as well for me, like that high gen beautifier or something. But I do enjoy the fresh mauve shade for sure. I think it's effortless on my skin tone. If I just wanted something soft on the cheeks without additional makeup, perhaps just brows, and today I slapped on Suku's Moisture Glaze, one from their pre-summer collection. I think it fares very well. It's very springy. What do you think? And with this highlighter, let's see now if I apply it on this side, if the light bounces off in a different way. Yeah, I think you can see the gold. It definitely head on, I can detect the pink undertone or that pink shift. But when I turn my head, I get more of like that pink gold combination for sure. But this isn't blindy highlighty like what exists, hold on, let me get it, like her golden highlighter trio. This is like more of a powder hybrid, and I think has more of a wet look to it versus the other side, right? So because again, this is like the hybrid high blush product, you will lose some of that wet effect, I think, if you wanted to produce more of like a middle of the road glow to the finish, which I'm totally fine with. If you wanted to slap on something else to enhance the wet effect of this highlighter, you most certainly can go in with the golden trio, tap a little more highlighter on top, or maybe spritz some setting spray around the cheekbone area and then slap on the high blush. You could do that. But let's experiment with layering, because Natasha again drove the point home that you can successfully layer this product without it appearing heavy on the skin, again due to its hybrid formula that is forgiving on skin texture, and it does not look heavy, discolored. It doesn't have that made up look to it, and most certainly I think that holds true. The thing is, however, I'm not, well, for the exception of that last shade, I think it's called Vamped. Yes, I gotta be honest, that's the only other shade that I would want. The other shades, like the pinks, I don't know how they would translate on me. I think this is like pink enough for me, and I say that sure while owning this cool pink, but that's probably why I didn't try the icy light pink or the icy pastel pink, because I kind of have that experience from the YSL, which I kind of want to apply on top and see what that does. Not gonna lie. But man, if only we had a high blush duo in like either a peachy nude tone or a Paradise Venus tone. I know, like, Alicia, shut up. We get it. You love terracottas. I just feel it's an outstanding opportunity, especially with this formula. I am plopping down quite a bit of the high blush, and despite that, It doesn't look heavy on the skin whatsoever. And if I were to go further with this, I'll take the 116 and plop it not only on the cheekbones, but bring it lower. And Natasha had mentioned if you wanted, you can apply the highlight side first and then the regular blush on top. I'm saying regular, but I'm sure it has another name for it. And indeed, despite that application, it doesn't look rough. Like there's not that apparent texture that happens when you apply something with too much pearl in it. That could happen with Baby Doll if I'm not careful. Not the fact that it's white base, sure, but because of the satin formula and that pearl in there, if I apply too much, it can grab this texture here on the center of my face. But despite me still, I'm just going ahead and applying as much as possible, and this is a good product. First impressions, sure. I'm not crazy about the color selection. I think it's limited. A lot of pink, that like there's always a pink something, even in the pomegranate and even in the corals, right? I can't speak for how it will look on my skin tone. I'm just going based on the photos. So if you actually picked up, let's see here, Flirty Flush, which is the coral, a coral, Simply Shy is the light dusty coral, so probably more suitable for lighter skin tones, obviously. Pomegranate, right? If you thought the same as me, but you tried these shades on, you're like, Alicia, it actually is beautiful. Then fine. I'll acquiesce, and maybe I'll wait till March and try these in person in store. I don't know if I'll grab another one before, but I'm quite happy with Fresh Mauve. I think it's subdued enough for me to wear every day, but also lovely enough for me to pair with, well, I got a few options here. I have My Dream, I have Retro, and one of her 5 panners, specifically Palette 02 with the rosewood shades. I thought this would look quite nice with Fresh Mauve, but you know, Fresh Mauve is kind of warm for mauve, in my opinion. I thought it was an interesting name for this shade. And when I place it up against these shades, these for me, they lean a little cooler. You know what I mean? That's why I thought My Dream was a more appropriate matchup with Fresh Mauve because of the slightly warmer shades in here, and also the gold to pink flips that exist with Thrill and Spontaneous, you know what I'm saying? With that said, I'm gonna quickly whip on some Retro because I do love to incorporate other products that I think enhance the look of the product currently being reviewed, because that's ultimately what I would do. But I ain't gonna lie, just going out like this is pretty nice. It's a nice color. I don't know if I would categorize this as mauve though. I would think this is, it looks more of like a rose on me. But enough of that. Let me quickly slap on some My Dream because my SD card is running out of space. And I'll kick off the look with Carpe Diem because I think that'll be a nice matchup to the High Blush shade. And I'll just quickly, well, ooh, that's a little, man, maybe I should do Retro instead. It's until sometimes you gotta make mistakes to know not to do it again. Nude Mauve. I'm gonna head into Nude Mauve. I think that's a more fitting choice with the Fresh Mauve duo. Yes, indeed. I think that is a lot better. I might have to hop between the two. Who knows? I'm taking it beyond my lash line as I want this look to appear quite hazy. For the outer part of the eyes, well, this is where I'm going to hop back into My Dream and use my finger to apply Thrill. I think Thrill corresponds well with the highlight shade from the duo, right? Although it doesn't have the same effect as that shade, I think it having that warm pink flip on a kind of like goldy base. I'm making up words, don't mind me. Fits quite nicely with what we're trying to achieve here. But on the outer corner, I want something. Do I want to go back in with that Carpe Diem shade? No, actually, I'm going to keep it as is and just finesse the crease more with nude mauve, just to take down a little bit of the thrill. That sounded funny, to ensure that it mostly stays on my lid. But I do want to apply for the inner corner. I think I'll go in with Spontaneous, just so we can get that highlight going. And again, I think it matches well with the entire look. And for some lash line definition, definitely using aspiration. I'm trying to locate some sort of shadow liner brush, and aspiration is the dark brown, like bark brown shadow from My Dream, and carefully stamping that along the lash line to create a little more definition, just so the eyes don't appear as empty, since I am foregoing any shading on the outer V. All right, it's time to apply some lashes and I'll be right back. And here is the final look and close-ups using Natasha Denona's newest blush release, the High Blush Cloudy Cream Cheek Duo. I have to say, this product is phenomenal. I understand I tried it for the first time today. I will have to take it through the ringer, I'm sure, using it with other complexion products, applying it on bare skin without any foundation or even a skin tint, blending it with my other cheek products. But as I try to run through my entire collection in regards to cream cheek products, this might have to be one of the most effortless cream cheek products I've ever encountered. Just the texture itself, easy to pick up, but the way it envelops the skin seamlessly, evenly, it takes no effort at all. And I think Natasha succeeded victoriously in developing a formula, again, a hybrid type of a formula that delivers a seamless skin finish, but it is incredibly easy to apply. And there's room to dial up the color if you wish. You could apply as a softer wash of color or it to appear more vibrant. And now with the presence of the color shifting shade, which I understand, not a dedicated highlight, and I don't think it was supposed to be a highlighter to begin with. Even if it gives that impression, I think it's supposed to deliver more of a glowy finish that you might not be able to achieve with the cheek color alone, right? If you wanted a dedicated cheek color that has more of a natural finish on the skin, you'll apply this side. But if you want more of a glow, that again, I don't think is supposed to be an actual highlight, but just to enhance the finish of that natural lay down from the cheek color, you can very much achieve that without enhancing texture, without it looking too wet if you don't like that look. But I have a lot of products in my collection that can enhance the more wet finish of a highlighter type of a product. And my apologies for the constant light change. It's just one of those days with the clouds today. I'm sorry. I could go in with Izamea's Dazzle Up Stick if I wanted more of a wet effect here on the cheeks. I can go in with a separate dedicated highlighter, whether it's from Natasha's collection or another product entirely from a different brand. But I do enjoy the fact that we have two options here, right? We can stick to more of a natural color finish, or we can enhance it by adding the color shift blush light, if you will, because again, it's not going to leave behind a traditional highlight in terms of like that high shine finish, but definitely enhances the glow and the sheen effect when combined with the cheek color. And the shade itself, again, even though it's labeled Fresh Mauve, or it's called Fresh Mauve, and the color descriptions read as glowy nude mauve, I would still think this is a rosier type of a mauve. It would have been interesting to see a cooler desaturated mauve in the lineup. That will be for sure. And again, maybe it's because that already exists in the Dream Trio. A berry color is already in the Berry Pop Trio. If I were to quickly make a comparison, I definitely prefer, as much as I like the gel hybrid something in the trio palettes, I much prefer the Hy blush formula. I think it's easier to pick up, it's easier to maneuver across the skin, it's virtually foolproof in my opinion, this formula here. And again, Natasha nailed it. When it comes to complexion products, Natasha's a force to be reckoned with, for sure. I have a ton of her face palettes, and it's interesting to see how the formula has evolved, how Natasha continuously cooks in the lab and works to conjure up the next best thing, right? And I'm pleased to see that she integrated her Hy concept or her Hy formula in her blush products. I would love to see more shades, but as I said before, I am happy with Fresh Mauve as my color of choice from the Hy blush lineup. Again, I could pick up Vamped because that is the only other shade that I'm inclined to purchase, and who knows what will happen later this year. Maybe we'll see a Hy-Glam foundation product from Natasha Denona. But let me know what you think down below, family. Did you pick up the Hy blush duo? If so, in what shades? It may be just one or several. Did you discover different cocktails? I would love to know down below. And more importantly, if you made it this far, please consider liking this video. It tremendously helps me tell the algorithm that I'm worth watching. And if you want to see more videos like this, be sure to subscribe, click that notification bell so you are alerted immediately of when that upload drops. I'll see you down in those comments, and I'll see you on here again next time.